Hi guys, welcome to the, not the shed, the workshop, shall we say. I don't know who it was, but somebody asked me what I'd done to my Element Enduro in my attempts to make it a more LCG type chassis, or an LCG cheater. So I thought I'd do a quick walk around video of it and try and show you what I've done up until this point. So let's have a look at the car. First thing I've done is I've got a servo and axle mount which I designed and 3D printed. And it's good because you get a better steering control, but you get the CG down nice and low as well. That probably is a bit, there you go, I think that's maybe better to see. Obviously as well, I'm sort of going through more things I've designed than just bought, but as you can see on the axles I've got some SSD brass on the axles to get the weight down nice and low. We've got LCG links on the bottom there. The front are currently straight, but that's I'll go into that in a minute. The other thing I've done is these shock hoops. It's hard to really see if you can see those. Those are designed and 3D printed. The reason I went and designed my own was because I wanted to get the CG, or no, not the CG, well yes I did get the CG lower, but I wanted to get the ride height lower as well. Because if the stock shop hoops kind of give you loads of clearance, but clearance you don't really need. So these current ones are about 10mm taller. So I did have some 15mm ones, but I was getting a lot of, I don't know, I got annoyed with the centre skid grounding out, so I've reduced these by 5mm, so they're only 10mm lower than stock, to see if I can kind of get a best of both worlds. What else there? So because I've lowered the ride height, I've also just completely got rid of the servo mount here. The shocks, as you can probably see, are stuck in there with nylon nuts. But if you were to fully compress, as you can see, the servo comes right up through the chassis. Obviously that's not really going to happen most of the time because you're unlikely to fully compress both sides. You generally do one or the other, don't you? But yeah, that means I've got all the clearance I need there. I changed the brace here across the chassis. Obviously in the stock one you have the battery mount here, so I've designed a kind of mount to put an ESC or whatever you want really. It's a nice little flat mount there, but it keeps it as low as you can without fouling on the links or the drive shafts. I'm probably going to design something even smaller than this now, because this ESC's going, because I've got a, let me see if I can show you, it's on the operating table at the moment. I've got a drone ESC to go in it, which will be flashed with AM32 custom firmware, so I'm not going to need this much space. So I'm gonna probably, I'm not sure what I'll do. I may just put the ESC on one of these sliders, or I may make that smaller, or I might be able to get it a bit lower possibly. Down into the back, I've got a couple of these shock hoops, obviously, to get it nice and low. With the chassis I'm running, it's got a rear bed, so rather than use the customary pins and stuff, I've just created a little brace there with some Velcro to hold it on, and that's holds it on more than sturdily enough. More brass on the rear axle. You can probably see there. Let's see if we can get the LCG links on the back there. On the front, I've designed a minimalistic bumper made up of the brackets are 3D printed, and then I've got like a chassis spacer there as my bumper. I've also got a mount for my battery there, so I run a little tiny 800 milliamp hour 3S battery and just mount that right on the nose. Someone sort of said once it's a bit dangerous, but I've not had a problem. That bumper's more than sturdy enough to stop any impacts on the battery itself. And then my latest creation, it's going to be hard to show you, is this LCD mount for the transmission. So this is the normal point where that would be attached to the skid. So that's been flipped around, and I've now got it mounted here. Can we see that? Yeah, just about. So we've got a motor plate that mounts to this centre section, and it's pivoted the motor around, and that connects through to the skid plate, which is a flat skid plate now. So the only thing the flat skid plate does is it raises these lower links higher, so you'll tend to have a problem with your upper and lower links binding together. So what I've done on the rear is, in the Element Enduro LCG kit you get different sets of these in order to, I think it's for different like wheel lengths. What's the word I'm looking for? Wheelbases. So luckily 2 of those were the same length as these top links, so I have got their LCG links as well, but I've flipped them around. It's hard to show you, probably can't see very well. But on the bottom one you've got the bend at the rear, and on the top one you've got the bend at the front. So it just gives you enough clearance to get full articulation. Jesus. On the front I wasn't able to do that because the upper links, I didn't have any matching high clearance links to replace those with. So what I've done for now is I've got straight links on the front completely, and they allow, I'd say, about 90-95% articulation freely, and then the last 5% it does go, but the links are starting to bind. So I haven't come up with a solution for that yet. Someone suggested some offset links, so I may try and do that. It's only a tiny bit of binding right at the extreme articulation, so an offset link on the top, on the upper links, an offset rod end on the upper links would probably be enough to get me clearance. Yeah, so I would have been good to have a picture of the chassis, or the transmission, before I made these modifications, but I might be able to find one and edit it into the video, we'll see. I guess the last thing is these sliders. I've created my own sliders, which were a bit of a pain because I realised the distances in the screw holes were slightly off, so they were a bit of a bind to get on there, but I've got those sorted now. I think that's about it. I've got the green springs on the shocks now to get, they're the softest you can get, so it sits more in droop. So, and I've also put 60 weight oil in them, which actually seems, I like that, it's nice and slow articulation. Well, I think that's about it. I've tested this new transmission in PLA, and that was for about 3 hours, and it stood up just fine. So this final version I've got here now is in PET G, so it should be more than tough enough. So I don't think I've not got any concerns about the strength of that at all. Let's just have some more fun. I'm not sure what there is left to do on it. I'm sure I'll think of something. But yeah, I think that's all. So thanks for watching.